Hi, my name is Mark, and I'm part of the customer success team here at Agendrix. In the following video, we'll go over our time and attendance module. So we'll first of all see how employees can clock in, clock out. Then we'll go over the management of the timesheet, so how to approve hours, how to modify hours, and then we'll look into the exportation of all that data, so how to export everything for payroll. So if I go over to Agendrix here, everything today will be under the attendance tab on your left side. But before going into our pay period summary is to note that there's a bunch of settings that you can set up. So the first settings that you can play with are the ways that employees can clock in and clock out. The first way they can do so would be directly via a terminal that you set up on any PC or on a tablet, let's say. If you do so on a tablet with the native app, we can also take photos to make sure there's no body punching happening. The second way employees can clock in, clock out would be directly with their personal mobile app, and that would be with the peach button on the left side, right side, and this way is a geofenced way on the job side. Third way would be directly on their personal PC when they log in with their email password. This is useful for office workers, let's say. You can authorize specific networks. And the last way would be just to input manually their timesheets. Knowing that, there's a bunch of other settings. I won't go over everything today, but two important ones to note is that you can send notifications to employees and managers when employees are late. And second would be to do automatic roundings based on specific rules. So let's say someone clocks in earlier than expected, you can automatically round it. If you have any questions in regards to the settings when you're setting it up, you can always chat with us in our business hours. If I go back to my summary, first of all, I want to make sure I'm working in the good place. So I just go to the good pay period that I want to work in. And then if I go to the bottom, I'll have some filters on my left side and all of the summary on my right side. So my summary includes all employees with relevant information that you can hover to see the specific columns, so let's say clocked hours. The way to work quickly in the summary here is to look for employees that have elements in the alert section here. So you can see here, edit has a couple. So let's say she has unapproved time entries, outside radius. There's different errors that you can always filter on your left side here. So let's say if I filter my unapproved time entries, there's edit. If I click on her, I'll enter her timesheet, and you'll see on the left side, you'll have all of her information with some shortcuts to her profile, let's say. And on the right side, at the bottom of the page, you'll have all of her timesheet information. So all of the dates, the specific errors, the date, the scheduled hours, and then the clocked hours on the right here. Basically, you just have to approve time entries that are in yellow. So here, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. She just didn't clock out in this case. So to manage it, I click, and then I can enter my data. I can use the scheduled start and end as a shortcut, change everything. When I'm happy, I can just approve. That being said, once approved, you can still always modify a time entry. So you can just click back on it, do the changes you want. But it's to note that there's always logs that will tell you everything that happened in this case. My other approval here is a bit different. I see that I have an outside radius alert here. This means that the employee, when they clocked out, they were outside of the authorized radius using the mobile app. So if you don't use the mobile app, you won't have this type of error. But when they do so, we always require two things. First of all, the employee has to suggest their end time, which in this case was 7 p.m. And in their justification, which in this case was they completely forgot to clock out. So if I'm happy with that, I can just use the suggested time. I can change anything else that I want, and I can go see the locations to make sure that everything's looking good. Once approved, well, then I could go over and export my my payroll. That being said, before going there quickly, on the left side here, you'll have access to all of our banks. You can bank worked hours, and you can bank any type of time off. So you could put let's say 40 hours in their vacation time bank. For any question regarding that, I'll put in the description 2 articles on how to manage those 2 banks. You can also chat with us for that. So if we go over to exporting the data, now that we don't have any more unapproved time entries, well, that's simple enough. You can just go on the right side here, export pay period, and then here you'll have a few options. By default, you'll only have summary, detailed with positions. The rest are some integrations that we have. If you have any questions regarding integrations, just let our sales team know. In any case, you can just export the data here and you're good to go. So you now have a good idea on how to use the time and attendance module. Keep in touch for any further questions. Take care.